Today we are going to talk about poster design. This may seem obvious, but the purpose of a poster is to sell you on something, whether it's an event, a belief, or literally a movie ticket. It should set a certain mood, not only through content, like the shark on the cover of Jaws, but through various elements such as color or lack thereof, contrast or brightness, the style, does it look illustrated, realistic, cartoony, etc., and the use of space. We are going to focus on space, which is one of the 7 elements of art. We have already learned a bit about the rule of thirds, but as a reminder, this is when you split your space into 3 sections vertically and horizontally, and use the intersecting points and lines to place your main subject matter. What this does is it helps create a visually pleasing composition. The word composition in art refers to how the elements in the image are arranged. It can force your viewer's eye to move a certain way throughout the artwork, like this one that forces you to look at the person, or this one that leads you to the end of the hallway. In general, having a good composition means that the artist used the space well, or in a way that's aesthetically pleasing. Let's compare some posters and talk about their artistic success or lack thereof. Wonder Woman versus X-Men. Which one do you think looks better? I personally think the Wonder Woman one is significantly better, but let's talk about why. The first thing we have to understand is positive and negative space, which both of these posters play with pretty drastically. Positive space is what the main object is of the space, and negative space is typically your background. Both of these posters use a person or figure in the positive space, and a full or partial silhouette of those figures. Both have the movie information at the bottom of the page, so the basic structure of these posters is the same. However, the use of negative space is the first difference I want to talk about. On X-Men, it's completely blank. But for Wonder Woman, there's a dramatic gradient of cool to warm colors that helps pull the viewer's eye up and down throughout the image. In X-Men, your eye just kind of stops on the weird floating face, which is the only thing in color on that poster. As a viewer, I'm not really sure what the benefit of that floating head gives to that poster, other than for them to advertise which famous actor they have in their film. The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is a similar poster to X-Men in design, but much more effective. The silhouette is filled with a landscape scene that sets the mood of the movie, as well as the diagonal stance of the figure helps keep your eye moving throughout. Moving on to Top Dog versus Argo. Since we already know about positive and negative space, let's start there. For both, we have a sort of generic, near-to-blank background with a slight gradient in the negative space. However, it's the positive space that makes Argo so much more interesting to look at. They use shredded paper, which I absolutely love, since it's not only using the space well, but it also ties in with what happens in the movie. Notice how the shredded strips have different lengths, which create an implied line of a wave, which brings the viewer's eye across the page, either left to right or right to left. There's a single strand missing that also helps add some vertical movement visually as well. This poster is mostly black and white, but where they use the color it's meaningful, unlike in X-Men. The red and the green provides emphasis to certain words, as well as matches the color of the flag of one of the countries they're involved with in the movie. Pan's Labyrinth versus 127 Hours. Which one is better? Leave your vote in the comments. I'm interested to see. In my opinion, both are really, really well done. Pan's Labyrinth uses repeating circles for its composition, along with organic swirls that move your eye throughout the image, almost making you feel lost. Maybe like a labyrinth. With 127 Hours, we see again this dramatic gradient used in the negative space, but even more striking than that is what the image of the negative space makes. Do you see it? It's an hourglass. If you don't know the premise of the story, it's about a guy whose arm gets trapped under a boulder, and he has a certain amount of time to figure out what to do before he dies. Spoiler alert, he cuts his arm off. Anyway, what's important about that is that the composition or use of space in successful designs not only uses the elements of art and principles of design well, but creates a sort of double meaning with its layout, one that ties to what happens in the movie. For your project, you have 2 options. First option. You can pick a movie you like and design a stunning poster for it, or to challenge yourself, maybe you pick a movie you don't like. The second option is to create a truly iconic digital artwork that can be used as a Christmas card. Before you pause this video thinking you've already decided what movie you want to do, Know that if you complete a Christmas scene, the design has the possibility of being chosen for this year's Christmas card, and that goes out to all parents, school board members, and faculty. That means you not only get the honor of having your artwork chosen and displayed to hundreds of people, but that you would also have an additional accomplishment to add to your artistic resume. This was the design that was chosen last year and was drawn by a student on an iPad. Whichever option you choose, it must be original without violating any copyright laws and convey either the meaning of the movie itself or a belief you hold about Christmas. If you are doing the movie poster, I highly recommend watching the supplemental video linked in the description below at this time, and you do not need to watch this video any further. If you are interested in completing a Christmas card, let's look at some examples before you get started. This Christmas card works with a circular composition as well, and it includes a lot of really iconic Christmas items such as mistletoe, Christmas tree branches, ornaments, a Christmas tree, a bird, and of course the words Merry Christmas. That's a lot of stuff, right? Where I think many Christmas cards go wrong is they become too busy. Too much stuff going on at one time. However, by using one color, the color red, and thin lines for all of its illustration, this card balances its clean, simple design with the filled content. It's appealing to me. On the other hand, this card, in my own personal opinion, fails to do that. Even though it has less icons, like it only has snowflakes, ornaments, and branches, in comparison to the other one that had all of those different icons, this one uses really full, vibrant color for everything, which seems a bit hectic and unsettling to me. Perhaps if they had even just made the negative space a dark, muted blue, it would have been a better design. This card here I think works really well, and it conveys a strong message to me that encompasses the joy and magic that Christmas holds, like when you open a present. It also uses the movement of swirling lines to move the viewer from left to right across the page. Notice as well how the ribbon on the present repeats the same swirling pattern. That helps to create unity in the entire piece. Speaking of unity, I'm not sure we get it quite right on this card. I do wonder if the change in font from Merry to Christmas really adds anything to this design. Instead, for me, I think it takes away from the unity. Also, the color of the font changes. I assume they wanted to try and match the blue ornaments, but the blue isn't even exactly the same blue. Not the worst design ever, but certainly not my favorite. This one works well in my opinion. There's a good balance between warm colors and cool colors, and the birds are nearly but not perfectly symmetrical. The artist left some negative space with the watercolor technique to give the implication of snow without painting literal snowflakes. And then you have the ironic designs, intentionally bad to bring about a humorous reaction. From the pose of the people to the dog head floating in outer space, this is certainly one that was meant for you to love to hate. Are you ready? Think about some ideas and maybe sketch a few first so you can decide on the best design. Good luck!